Shalom and welcome to 2 Minutes of Torah. This year is entitled, How Can 250 Leaders Be Swayed by Korach's Ridiculous Arguments? So the Medrash tries to describe to us Korach's arguments. And the famous Medrash says, well, he came and he said, we need to have a mezuzah on the door. But what if the room is filled with Sfarim? So we remember God when we walk into the room. Do we need mezuzahs? Or tzitzis, we have to have a blue string, reminds us of the Shamayim, connects us to God. Or if the whole garment is blue, do we need to have tzitzis, a blue thread on? And Moshe, of course, said, yes, we do. And people laughed at it. And he won over 250 heads of Sanhedrin. It wasn't slouches. How could that be? Don't we all know that if you tamper with halacha, it's done, it's over? We described in another shir, development of conservative Judaism, where the origins were very close to halacha. But once you start chipping away at halacha, it falls apart. So you could say, well, we're looking with hindsight 100 years later. They didn't have that hindsight. They're living in the moment. It's true, but we all understand. You have to keep halacha, even in a non-religious system. I know someone who's trying to leave the country for a certain amount of days, but they're still in the middle of the time where they're supposed to be in the army. So they said they have a wedding outside of Israel. They want to go for the wedding. Okay, they see the ticket. Well, the rule is we can give you up to 10 days. But this wedding could be, the ticket from day to the day of returning is 10 days plus 4 hours. So that's too long. So it says, oh, come on, what's the story here? There has to be a system. Maybe they'll be willing. It's not halacha, so they'll be willing to adjust it. For the fact that there's a system, 10 days and not more, now it's 10 days and 4 hours, and now you have to work with the system. Yes, it can't be a free-for-all. Or the more so, Torah and mitzvahs can't be free-for-all. So how do people go ahead? Rashi said they're all leaders. 250 people to follow Korach. So the Ramban answers it's all timing. There's a big Ramban in the beginning of the Parsha Korach. A major discussion there. Is everything in the Torah always in order? And the Ramban says, yes, we assume everything is in order. When it's not out of order, it means when the Torah specifies a day. And that day is clearly earlier than the previous chapter. Outside of that, you assume everything is in order. And therefore, here too, you have Shlach. The people are told they're not going to get into Israel. They're going to die in the desert for 40 years. And then Korach comes along. Which means when Korach is coming, his argument about the fact that he wasn't chosen and his younger cousin was chosen ahead of him and all the insult, that was inside his heart for a while now. And his argument about the tzitzis and mezuzah, those are not strong arguments. But it was ripe for rebellion. The people were angry, they were annoyed, they were depressed. And once you're not functioning, and once you're down, then your mind is mush, and there's no clarity. And you can even go ahead and have a ridiculous interpretation of Judaism and run with it, and just not see 2 feet in front of you. And it was tragic. But Korach was a brilliant man. I don't think his arguments were so brilliant, but his time was brilliant. And he knew that he could piggyback off of the state, the horrible low state of the people, and he could go ahead and throw anything at them. And anything that's going to lead to rebellion against Moshe, the more, the better. And it's an important lesson for all of us. We have to know when we're down and out, that is not a time we're thinking clearly. We could come up with a lot of distorted ideas. So ideas about whether it's about Judaism, whether it's about Hashem, whether that's a relationship that we're involved in. Once we're not functioning in full capacity, our mind is not clear. And the biggest favor we could ever do to ourselves is when we know what we're down and out, not to make any big decisions in life, not even to make any small decisions in life, just to try to get by, work through our depression, whatever else we may be going through. And then when things are a little bit clearer, then to revisit whatever issues that we're involved in. Yetz Hashem, we should take lessons from Korach and his followers and have clarity. Shalom.